seeing down the road. I mean, how long until I can't get on my horse?
Time is precious, and we're not going to waste it thinking about all the horrible things that could go wrong.
At first glance, everything at Heartland seems perfectly normal. The sun shines over the ranch, the horses graze peacefully, and Amy finally looks like she's finding her rhythm again, balancing her work, her relationship with Nathan, and being a mom to Lindy. But just beneath that calm surface, something is shifting. Amy doesn't know it yet, but this peace won't last for long. The episode begins with Amy training an Olympian's horse, one of her biggest professional opportunities since Ty's passing. She's focused, confident, and determined to prove herself, not just to the client, but to herself. You can sense that familiar spark in her eyes, the same one she had when she first started training horses years ago. Nathan watches from a distance, proud but cautious, sensing the pressure Amy's under. She's been working non-stop, and it's starting to show. Then comes the first sign, small, almost unnoticeable. Spartan hesitates during a simple trot, his steps uneven. Amy brushes it off, thinking he's just tired. But we, the audience, can feel it. Something isn't right. The music changes, her expression tightens, and a cloud passes over the open sky. It's as if the ranch itself knows that trouble is coming. Later that evening, Amy finds herself sitting by Spartan's stall, gently brushing his mane. She talks to him like she always has, like he's part of her soul. There's comfort in that silence. But as she looks into his eyes, something feels different. He's quiet, too quiet. His breathing sounds heavy and his usual energy is missing. She whispers, "You're okay, boy, right?" But even she doesn't believe it. The next morning, Amy's world begins to tilt. Spartan refuses to eat. He doesn't respond to her voice. The vet's truck pulls into the ranch and everyone gathers around, worried but trying not to panic. Jack stands close by, his face tense. He's seen enough over the years to know this isn't just fatigue. The vet's expression says it all before she even speaks. There's something seriously wrong with Spartan's health. Nathan tries to stay strong for Amy, but the moment she hears the words, "It could be serious," her heart sinks. Her memories with Spartan flash before her. Every race, every rescue, every ride she took to escape her grief. Losing Spartan would mean losing the one constant that's kept her grounded since Ty died. You can see that realization hit her like a wave. And then, to make things worse, the news starts to spread faster than wildfire. Amy's new client, the Olympian, starts doubting her. Rumors begin to circulate that Amy might have neglected Spartan while focusing too much on her new project. It's cruel, unfair, but that's how gossip works in Hudson. One whisper becomes a storm. Amy's reputation, something she's spent her entire life building, is now hanging by a thread. The same people who once praised her as a horse whisperer are suddenly questioning her integrity. Nathan steps in, defending her, but Amy can feel the walls closing in. She's not just fighting to save her horse anymore. She's fighting to protect her name, her career, and her legacy. The episode captures this mix of heartbreak and fear beautifully. The stillness of the barn, the sound of Spartan's labored breathing, and the weight of Amy's silence. You can almost feel her trying to hold herself together, refusing to break down. Because that's Amy, strong on the outside, even when she's falling apart inside. The morning after the vet's visit, the atmosphere at Heartland changes completely. What was once a place of hope and healing now feels heavy, as if the air itself is weighed down with worry. Amy barely sleeps that night. She keeps walking out to the barn, checking on Spartan, whispering his name, hoping he'll lift his head like he always used to. But he doesn't. His energy's fading, and so is Amy's confidence. By sunrise, the gossip has already reached town. A few boarders at the ranch mention overhearing that Amy mishandled a high-profile horse. Someone twists the story, saying Spartan got sick because Amy pushed him too hard. And by noon, the rumor has reached social media. Local accounts posting that Heartland's miracle trainer has lost her touch. Amy doesn't even look at her phone. She doesn't need to. She can feel the judgment in the way people talk, the way they look at her when she walks into Maggie's. Jack notices the shift too. He watches Amy quietly from the porch as she tries to go about her day, pretending everything is fine. But he's known her long enough to see right through it. He walks over, gently puts his hand on her shoulder and says softly, "You can't fix everything at once, Amy. Sometimes you just have to be there." It's the kind of advice only Jack can give, wise, calm, and real. Amy nods, but deep down, she's already blaming herself. Later, Nathan shows up at the barn, offering to help. He brings coffee, hoping it'll make her smile. She appreciates it, but she's distant. She can't stop replaying the last few days in her mind, wondering what went wrong. Did she miss something? Was there a sign she ignored? Every thought cuts deeper. Nathan senses her silence and says gently, "You've done everything right, Amy. You always do." But she doesn't answer. Her eyes are fixed on Spartan. Then, in one quiet, heartbreaking moment, Spartan lets out a weak sound. A cry that feels like goodbye. Amy rushes to his side, holding his head close, tears filling her eyes. For years, he's been her strength, the one creature who carried her through the darkest chapters of her life. When Ty died, Spartan was her escape. When she lost herself, he was her reminder to keep going. And now, watching him like this feels unbearable. Just then, Lou arrives after hearing about Spartan's condition. She's worried, but tries to stay composed. The sisters embrace, and for a second, Amy allows herself to fall apart in Lou's arms. "I can't lose him too," she whispers, her voice trembling. Lou promises they'll do everything they can. Call specialists, bring in new treatments, whatever it takes. But Amy isn't sure if any of it will be enough. Meanwhile, the Olympian client, the one whose horse Amy was training, calls Jack. She's furious that her horse's session was canceled due to Spartan's emergency. Jack tries to calm her down, but she's already talking about taking her business elsewhere. That single phone call sends another wave of fear through the ranch. If Amy loses this client, she could lose her entire professional credibility. Years of hard work could vanish overnight. That evening, Amy finally confronts the vet again. The test results are back, and they're worse than she feared. Spartan's immune system is failing due to an old injury that never fully healed, something that's been quietly damaging his health for months. Amy's face goes pale. She realizes this might not just be a setback. It could be the beginning of the end. The vet says they can try one last treatment, but there's no guarantee he'll recover. As the camera would linger on Amy's face, you can almost hear her thoughts. She remembers all the time she said she could heal any horse, that there was always hope. But now, she's standing in front of the one soul she couldn't save. And that truth breaks her. When Nathan finds her sitting outside the barn later that night, she's staring at the stars, silent. He sits beside her, waiting, not saying a word. After a while, she whispers, "If I lose him, I don't know who I'll be." Nathan finally replies, "You'll still be Amy. You'll still be the heart of this place," but she shakes her head, tears falling down. "No, Nathan. He is my heart." As the night grows colder, Amy rests her head against Spartan's stall door, holding his halter in her hand. The lights in the barn flicker softly, shadows stretching across the walls. You can feel the weight of everything she's carrying. Grief, guilt, and the terrifying thought that she might have to say goodbye. And just when it feels like she's starting to accept that possibility, something unexpected happens. Spartan stirs suddenly, breathing unevenly, his body trembling. Amy panics, calling out for help. Jack and Nathan rush in, and the screen fades to black with Amy's desperate voice echoing. "Spartan, stay with me, please." The next morning arrives too soon, but Amy feels like the night never ended. She hasn't slept. She's still in the barn, sitting beside Spartan. Her eyes are swollen, her hands trembling from exhaustion and fear. The first light of dawn slips through the cracks in the wooden walls, casting soft gold on Spartan's coat, the same golden hue she's seen 1,000 times before, only now it feels different, fragile, temporary. Jack quietly brings her a blanket and coffee, setting them beside her without a word. He knows there's nothing he can say that will make this better. Amy strokes Spartan's neck gently, whispering words only he could ever understand. "You've always been my strong boy," she says, voice breaking. "You don't give up on me now." Meanwhile, word spreads across Hudson. What began as whispers has turned into noise. People online are now speculating about Spartan's condition. Some even suggesting Amy's methods have finally failed her. Old wounds reopen as Amy's past mistakes are dragged into the light. The times she took risks, the times her emotions clouded her judgment. It's cruel and unfair, but gossip rarely cares about truth. Nathan is furious when he sees the posts. He wants to confront everyone who's talking, but Amy stops him. "Let them talk," she says softly. "Right now, a Spartan needs all my strength." Her voice carries a kind of calm that comes only from deep pain, a calm that hides a storm. Then, in the middle of the day, the vet returns for a follow-up. The barn goes silent as she checks Spartan's vitals. Amy watches every movement, her eyes wide with desperate hope.